What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome to Thursday, week one of college football. My name is Matt Perrault. You guys can follow me across all of my socials at Sports Talk Matt. And we're back after a bad day. I was worried. I told you we went 3-0 on Tuesday, and I was like, uh-oh. Red Sox win, but they don't cover the run line. The Brewers changed out their starting pitcher, which under old rules, that would have avoided the bet. But under new rules, the quote-unquote new house rules, where it's action and everything is action and there is no refund, you just get burned, which I really don't like. I think it's actually really unfair. But they went with an opener instead of Quinn Priester. So, sorry, that was just a bad day, unfortunately. Brewers' run line doesn't get there. They lose outright 3-2. Red Sox win, but they don't cover the run line. And the Rays lost in extra innings to the Cleveland Guardians. They lost 4-3. So we were due to have some things go against us, and that's what happened. So we go from 5-1 to 5-4. Still a winning week, just not nearly as good. We were up over 4 units, and we just gave 3.2 units back yesterday. But that's a good way to drop baseball for a while. You guys were like, wait, you want to drop baseball? And then you get reminded why baseball can be very wonky. And I told you yesterday that Wednesdays are like Sundays. They're getaway days, the early days. The Brewers change pitchers out. Like Wednesday, Sunday, the 2 days I really don't like betting baseball. But we have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Baseball is going to take a break for a while, okay? We'll pick it back up, but for right now, we're going to get into college football. Now, I did pretty well last year in college football. I did horrible in college basketball, but I did pretty well last year in college football. So hopefully we will continue this going on. So I got 3 bets for us here, all on the games tonight in college football, mostly involving Big Ten teams, but also one power group of five game that I want to get into coming up here today. But before we do that, a reminder about what happens when you subscribe to BettingPros Premium. Well, first, you get a 7-day free trial when you download the BettingPros app, Android or Apple. Use the code JUICE. That's going to get you a 7-day free trial of BettingPros Premium, which will have the prop bet cheat sheet, the prop bet analyzer, and a litany of other tools you can use this college football and NFL seasons to help you win more bets. It's on the upgrade screen is where you use that code JUICE for a 7-day free trial of BettingPros Premium, 7 days for free. Check it out by downloading the Betting Pros app and using the code JUICE for a 7-day free trial. All right, Nebraska and Cincinnati. Man, have I gone back and forth on this. All right, full disclosure. I was once the pre- and post-game show host of a show called the Big Red Reaction. It was a call-in show before Husker football games and after Husker football games. It was done on the flagship station for the Creighton Blue Jay basketball team, which is the number one rival basketball-wise for Nebraska. So clearly I was sort of, not anti-Nebraska, but I wasn't in love with Nebraska. I covered Alabama and then I covered Nebraska. It wasn't really fair, okay? It would kind of be like covering the Dallas Cowboys and then you go and cover the Cleveland Browns, like a program that used to be proud, that used to be good, that used to win games, and people would remember, the fans remember what it was like to win. They just haven't seen it for a very long time. So this is a home game for Cincinnati. I know you're going to go, wait, what? This game was supposed to be at Lucas Oil, but they moved it because of a money offer. They moved it to Arrowhead for this game. So it helps Nebraska, clearly. Cincinnati gets 3/4 of the ticket sales for the game at Arrowhead. So that's why they moved it, because they were like, well, we don't really have a fan base, because Cincy really doesn't have a big fan base. Nebraska does. It's a very quick 2.5-hour drive straight down I-80. Is it 80? I don't remember the highway. I should. I lived there for 5 years. I worked in Kansas City as well as when I lived in Nebraska. So sorry, forget the highway. But straight shot, right down. 29? I think it's 29. I don't know. But you go right down. Omaha, right down. So there will be thousands and thousands of Husker fans. And the Bearcats are going to make a lot of money from this game. So what happens in this game? If you want to bet the over, you can. But the line movement is scaring the dickens out of me. It was as high as 53.5. You oftentimes will see the pros bet unders early. We saw the game for Kansas State and Iowa State, which was a dead under all game long, and the game should have gone over. That last-second touchdown that was ruled out. They took 3 knees. The game stayed under 50. It was 24-21, the final score. It fell 44. Just a ridiculous. So I don't know if I want to play around with totals in week 1. It's a little dangerous to do that just because game flow and turnovers and missed kicks and mistakes and a lot of those things happen. So I'm going to stick with sides here, okay? The number is 6.5, and I mean it is painted 6.5. Everyone is at 6.5. Whenever the number goes to 7, it gets gobbled up immediately. +7, gone. And it goes right back to 6.5. What will this number close at? I don't know. A part of me says this number is going to close at 6. That the late money is going to come in here on Cincinnati. Why? Nebraska sucks in their opening Power 5 game. Like, sucks. They can't beat whoever they play in that first game against a Power 5. Number 2, under Matt Perrault, under anyone in the last, whether it be Scott Frost or Mike Riley, it doesn't matter. The Huskers can't win one-score games. They just can't. So you have the wannabe Patrick Mahomes with Dylan Raiola playing at Arrowhead, which I actually think is a really bad thing, to be honest. He met Andy Reid yesterday at Arrowhead, coming off the practice field. Now, Cincinnati has got a quarterback that I think we need to talk about because I think he's going to present some problems here. And I think this offense could be a little bit better than people think. The Huskers went out and spent money trying to get their defense to be better, but Brendan Sorsby, I think, could be a big problem. He's a big kid who can run. And the Huskers have had hard times, and I mean dating back to when I covered Nebraska. They've had a hard time covering quarterbacks who can run. Got a couple of transfers coming in here on offense. They got a couple of first-team all Big 12 defenders, including this Dante Corleone guy who might be ripping people's heads off in this game. The Huskers, if they're going to win this game, they can't turn the ball over, and they can't make mistakes in special teams. The black shirt defense has not been the black shirt defense for a long time. It was once a very proud defense that used to hand out those black shirts, and when you got one, there was a lot of pomp and circumstance. There was a lot of pride when you were handed one of those jerseys, and you were a black shirt defensive player for Nebraska. Throw the skull and bones, right? Huskers. Matt Perrault in year 3, generally speaking, in his previous stops, has been tremendous. Has turned around the programs quickly. Baylor, Temple. And year 3 has been the year that he pops off and everything gets going. Nebraska may win this game, but I can't trust the Huskers to win a game by more than one score. In fact, they may win the game, but I think they win the game by the skin of their teeth. It may be a mistake by Cincinnati, but a part of me thinks that they might lose this game. A part of me thinks that this is not going to be very easy. And so I'm going to take the points, but I'm going to buy the half a point. I don't want to lose this on a 28-21 or a 35-27 type final or 34-27 type final. It's only minus 130 to buy the half a point here in Vegas. So I'm going to do that, okay? I think there's a shot here that Cincinnati wins the game, and whenever we're betting dogs, we want to sprinkle money line. I don't think it's a horrible idea to sprinkle money line, but I think Nebraska just is so bad in one-score games, and they are so bad in the first Power 4, Power 5 game of the season this being a neutral, this being the first game for both teams, and Scott Satterfield needs his team to get off to a fast start. Like, there's a lot of pressure on that guy to come out and play. I just don't think the Huskers are going to be able to do this. I mean, this game probably goes over. I think if I had to bet the total, I would bet it over. But because of what happened early watching Iowa State and Kansas State, I'm a little bit gun shy of missed opportunities and turnovers in the red zone and just sloppy football early between Nebraska and Cincinnati, where the teams are leaving points on the field. And so I'm a little wary of the 51.5. Like I said, that number has gone as high as 53.5. It's come down to 51.5. Some books are back to 52. There's just a lot of volatility in the market at the moment, and that concerns me. I would rather go and bet the half a point, and get it to 7, where we've seen action. Like when that number hits 7, the pros are grabbing Cincinnati. That tells me that the sharp money is going to come in on Cincinnati. I'm more confident to be on that side. I think the books are going to need Cincinnati. I think the Huskers are going to get a lot of love from the public here because of Dylan Raiola, because of Matt Perrault, and because it's at Arrowhead Stadium. They're going to think, okay, Mini Mahomes is going to go in there and put up a lot of points and score a lot, which might happen, okay? The Huskers may score a lot, but I think Cincinnati might also score a lot because they may be getting big plays in their run game and in their passing game against this Husker defense, which I'm not really in love with and haven't been under Matt Perrault for a while. I'll take the points. Cincinnati +7. Again, I don't mind the over in this game. You want to bet the over? I don't hate it. Cincinnati +7 at -130. And you can bet the over if you want. 51.5 is the best number that currently is in the market. But Cincy +7 for -130 for 1.3 units. Next game, let's talk about Rutgers and Ohio. Ohio won the MAC last year, okay? And again, if you're a Husker fan, you know all about what happens with Ohio and what this program has looked like for many years here. Ohio, Frank Solich has put this program and made it his own. He's been there forever. Former Husker coach, now being at Ohio. So the Bobcats are, and it's funny because I've worked with people who are Bobcats alumni. They love the Bobcats. They got a decent quarterback. They got a couple of receivers. Can the Bobcats keep this game close? The number is 14.5. I actually don't think they're going to, and I don't think we even need to buy the half a point down to 14. But if you want to, I don't hate that. I think Rutgers wins this game going away. Why? Well, I think this Rutgers team has got an offensive line, a defensive line, and skill players that are going to maul Ohio. And I don't think Ohio has the weapons to keep up. I don't think Ohio is going to have much success here on the road in Piscataway when there's a lot of hype around this year's team for Rutgers. The way they ended the year last year, Rutgers was playing extremely well. And I think if you're a Rutgers fan, you're expecting your team to play really well defensively, shut down Ohio, and you expect your team to run them out of the building. Like 31-7 type final, okay? Again, I hate laying this many points early, but on the road against a Big Ten team, Ohio getting blown out is not that shocking at all, okay? They're going to have to try to stop the run, and they're going to have to stop the big play for Rutgers, and I don't think they're going to do that. This is going to be a pretty hostile environment. 6 o'clock Eastern time kick on the Big Ten Network. I think Rutgers is going to look to make a statement here, and I think they're going to have a chance to do it. I like Rutgers this year. I like their skill players. I think they're poised to make some noise in the Big Ten and make it difficult for some of the bigger name teams in the Big Ten. I'll lay the 14.5. Rutgers minus 14.5 up against Ohio at home for 1.1 units. And finally, we go to Boise State on the road against South Florida. This number was 6. This number's been bet down to 5.5. Why am I taking Boise? Well, it's the quarterback. I watched Maddox Madsen a lot, and I watched him in person when he played here against UNLV last year. Watched him in the Mountain West title game against UNLV as well. Look, Ashton Jeanty is gone, and arguably the best player in college football last year. You don't replace a guy like that. However, having Maddox to run the quarterback spot, I think, is huge. He's a stabilizing force. And a lot of the people that I've heard that are taking South Florida here, they're saying the heat is going to wear down Boise. I don't think so. This Boise team can play in domes. They can play in the cold. They can play in the heat. They're just a juggernaut at the Power 5 level. They're expected to be right back in the conversation for a playoff berth again as the best Power 5 team or non-Power 5 team, group of 5 team. And I think this, even without Ashton Jeanty, I think they've got some weapons, and they always have a player or two that you're like, whoa, how did that kid get through? How did that kid wind up at Boise? And the thing that struck me the most about Boise last year, and the thing that I think will happen this year, is that Boise State can rush the passer. Boise State's defense is ferocious. They're much better than people think, and I think they will continue to progress and continue to get better and better and better. South Florida, look, they lost some players on the offense, some wide receivers. They've brought in a couple of decent quarterbacks, wide receivers for their quarterbacks to throw to. Look, I'm going to watch this game, and I'm going to go, yeah, Boise is still Boise. I'm surprised this number has gone to 5.5, to be quite honest. I think Boise wins this game by 10 points or more. I don't think it matters about the weather in South Florida. I think Boise can play anywhere, and I think we're going to be reminded of what Boise is capable of doing and why they are most likely going to be back in the college football playoff. And again, I made fun of Boise all last year. I didn't think they nearly were as good. They didn't deserve a bye last year. Like all my issues with Boise State were all confirmed. But during the regular season, when they play at this level, when they're not playing a Power 5 team and they're playing a Group of 5 team, this is where Boise's culture, Boise's playmakers, and Boise's coaching and players and talent just shine. I'll lay the 5.5 points. I think they win the game by 7 or more. Boise minus 5.5. On the road, dangerous to lay points on the road. I get it, but it's early in the year. I don't care about the heat of South Florida. I'll take Boise minus 5.5 for 1.1 units. All right, so our plays for today, we're going with Cincinnati plus 7. We're buying the half a point from 6.5 up to 7. I hope late money comes in on Nebraska and you guys get 7 at a cheaper price, but I don't want to lose this game by 7 and Nebraska covers 27-20 and we lose. Let's just ensure it and make sure that we get a push if Cincy loses by 7. Boise minus 5.5 on the road at South Florida, and Rutgers at home against Ohio. We'll lay the 14.5 points with the Scarlet Knights to get a big, big win over Ohio coming up here. We'll lay the 14.5 points there. Those are our 3 bets to start week 1. More on Friday, more on Saturday. Reminder, the Friday podcast will be out early. I'm on a red eye back to New England, back to Boston on Thursday night. So the Friday morning edition of the Daily Juice will drop earlier than normal. You'll get that probably somewhere around, 8 o'clock Eastern, somewhere in that range for the bets on Friday. We probably won't know what the record is for Thursday completely, but I'll have that for you guys out early. Be watching for that. My name's Matt Perrault. Follow me across all my socials at Sports Talk Matt every morning, wherever you guys get your podcasts. It is the Daily Juice.